Hello everyone, my name is Barendipitous, and well, I think from now on you'll just be hearing me in these legend lore chats here on the Brawlhalla Lore YouTube channel because Ashy Arts has become more busy with school year has started, that kind of thing. I have tried to invite other fellow lore enthusiasts to join me on these, but it hasn't really worked out, and I get it. Again, school is starting. It's the middle of August right now. It's also been a few days since this channel has uploaded things, and it's mainly because I've been trying to see if I can get other people to chat with me, but nothing has quite worked out. Fine, understandable. So we are going to, you just have me until further notice, I suppose. But anyway, we're talking about Cross today. And actually his full name is that we know of is Joseph Cross. So here we go. The Deal Maker. In the 1951 case of New York v. Joseph Cross, charges against the gangster were dropped when eyewitnesses claimed the murder weapon was the man's own shadow. Trials and tribulations. Strangest court cases of the 20th century. Let's see, you gotta get into my, like, mafia voice or whatever. Yeah, pal. Sure, pal. Flip the coin. Heads you will. Cross to a demon who is getting a bad feeling about this deal. As the story goes, in Italy with the Allied army, PFC Joseph Cross found an ancient double-headed coin. That night, he dreamt of a demon and struck a deal. The demon would fight for him, and after his last fight, the demon would get payment. After the war, the New York underworld was rocked as a terrifying new force moved in. Cross's outfit took over and soon ran numbers, protection, and extortion in all 5 boroughs. At night, enemies would get a personal visit from Cross and what those who survived called living shadows. For years, Cross owned the town. As he grew obsessed with wealth and power, Cross turned deeper to the occult. He waded through the blood of New York's wizard population to accumulate magical artifacts and monstrous henchmen. But after Cross obtained the shrouded gauntlets of Belzar, things began to turn for the worse. Strangers appeared in town looking for him, hard-looking figures with archaic cloaks and ancient weapons. Battling these cloaked vigilantes with his fists and guns was far harder than scaring New York hoodlums. But Cross, with his demonic henchmen, held his own. Brawlhalla is the ultimate loophole in his deal with the demons, and the frightening but charismatic monster holds his place in the grand tournament for love of battle and fear of the alternative. But now Cross and the demon have a new wager, and like-minded legends are placing bets of their own. Really cool concept. I really like it.
Online.
I'll go ahead and jump in ranked. Why not? Ranked is always fun. I only say that partially ironically. I don't mind at all. So I do have one skin of Cross from a chest. Boss Cross. Really, really cool. I'm going to go ahead and use this. Hopefully this doesn't lag too much. It probably will because I'm using OBS and recording and stuff. So I'm not going to do too oh, Scarlet, my main. Oh, man, I'm not going to do great. Oh, and I need to read connections and stuff like that. I'll do that after this match. I'm not too good with the 2 weapons that Cross has. I like how the demon appears on occasion. Rocking my world here. Okay. More of the same, really. But yeah, Cross's animation shows that both his gauntlets and guns are powered by demonic power. Boom. One of the more OP signatures. I think you can hold that signature forever. You know, I've been doing really well in ranked recently. I don't know how, but I've made it past 1400, which is unheard of for me. I'm like, am I in like mid-gold territory, I think? Okay. But yeah, I don't know how I managed to do that. Boom! I'm probably gonna lose this anyway. That's fine. Well played. Good job.
Player 2 wins.
They usually leave the chat before. That's fine. Alright. I'm gonna go back to the lore here. Here we go. Cross has some pretty cool skins, by the way. There's one for when he was in the military, and just some, and that's his Terminus skin. But anyway, so moving on with the lore here, the connections that I was able to find. So Caspian stole Cross's double-headed coin and quickly gave it back, probably because Caspian realized, oh, there's a demon with this thing. I'll bring this back. And Cross is one of the metaphysical rule breakers, a rogue soul, and a cosmological cold case, as according to Nyx. Anyway, because he's supposed to. I mean, I'm sure he died, but he's still kind of on borrowed time with the demon and everything. The demon had to deal with him, but his last fight is never seems to happen. So anyway, Cross is the gangster, with kind of a bit of spooky demon stuff mixed in there. It makes me think of Call of Cthulhu, actually, like Lovecraft stuff, H.P. Lovecraft. All that stuff, most of Lovecraftian, classic Lovecraftian horror books take place in like the 20s, maybe 30s or something like that. That's kind of where Cross is, although Cross is a little bit after, because Cross was in World War II. Speaking of which, he was likely drafted into the war, so PFC is Private First Class, which is an entry-level military rank. So he was just kind of at the bottom, kind of like low tier as far as the military goes. But I'm quite sure he was in the American Army during the Italian campaign of World War II. That campaign took place between 1943 and 1945. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying World War I, because that court case up there takes place in 1951. So, I mean, I guess he could have been in World War I as well, but I don't think I could find an Italian campaign in World War I. I don't think much fighting happened around there during that First World War. So, World War II it is. So, his age as a soldier, he's somewhere between 18 and the high 30s, maybe even age 40 perhaps. But I'm gonna go with I went with the average in the lore page and the wiki. I'm going with the average age of an American soldier, which was 26. So if Joseph was 26 in 1943, then he would have been born at around 1917, making him 34 years of age during the 1951 case of New York v. Joseph Cross. So, although the Italian-American Mafia wasn't specifically mentioned in Cross's lore, that is obviously a source of inspiration. We don't know if Cross himself is of Italian descent. It is interesting, though, that he was in Italy during the war. Also, that double-headed coin, by the way, that's had quite a history, because I believe it started with the madman of Barbados, Thatch. Thatch had that coin because it was the devil's own double-headed coin. But Barbados is all the way in the Caribbean, so how this double-headed coin went from the Caribbean to Italy, well, I mean, it's quite a journey, to be sure, but it's possible. Like, that's like 1700s to the 1940s, so quite a bit of time. Things could have happened, definitely. Let's see. so he became a high crime boss in all of New York, New York City. A lot of what makes up the pop culture idea of gangster, what we think of as gangster today, comes from the organized crime that flourished during the Prohibition era, which is the 1920s, 1930s. That's when alcohol or moonshine was illegal. So any alcoholic beverage was kind of huge moonshine speakeasy operations, that kind of thing. So any organization Cross may have been in charge of, it likely had rules and customs similar to those upheld by the Mafia, if you wanted to look them up on Wikipedia. Let's see here. The whole deal with the devil thing, I mean, that's a well-known trope. There's no obvious connection between this and gangsters that I see, although, like I said, it reminds me of Lovecraftian horror kind of a thing. Lovecraftian horror doesn't deal with devils so much as it deals with cosmological horrors, like beasts and creatures beyond human comprehension. So, but I mean, you can see there's some inspiration there, possessed artifacts and that kind of thing. Things you shouldn't mess with. Blasters and gauntlets, they are ideal weapons for a gangster, because gauntlets for the whole fisticuffs thing, and obviously blasters as well. So blasters are obvious, they're the most efficient weapons. Knives or katars could work here, but we already have Lucian for that. Gauntlets just make sense. So, not just from a lore perspective, because Cross's gauntlets are the actual shrouded gauntlets of Belzar, but also from the fact that boxing was very much a thing in the 40s and 50s. Someone made a comment on a few months ago on the lore wiki here. I love what you're doing here, and for my main man Cross, I have just a few suggestions. Belzar reappears in Diana and Nyx's lore, so it might be worthwhile to set up a link to Belzar. Second, Thatcher's lore mentions the same coin that appears in Cross's lore. Yeah, I put those links in. So if you want to look up Belzar, Belzar does come up a couple of times. Belzar is this Icaruskian deity, apparently, of fire and chaos or something. But yeah, Belzar had, I'm assuming he's a he, had his own cult, and there was the Shrouded Gauntlets of Belzar. I imagine, oh yeah, also, a priest of Belzar spoke a hasty prayer as Diana approached. Her arrival was preceded by the building being on fire. So Belzar, I'm assuming, is an evil deity that the Order of the Exalted Lion didn't like. Although I'm sure Mordex would have been interested in the Shrouded Gauntlets of Belzar if he was aware of them at all. So Cross and Mordex could definitely get along because they both like using artifacts and things like that. And yeah, that's what I've got for Cross, I believe. Yeah. So without further ado, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, GG, fellow lore nerds.